If you've had a DEXA scan, then your T-score is what was used to determine whether you have osteopenia or osteoporosis. And while this information is useful, I find my clients sometimes obsess over their T-score. And they measure themselves by how low their T-score is and whether it's changed or not. The problem is your T-score does not tell the whole story. So let me give you an example to explain. Okay, let's say we have two people who are the same age. Person number one has a T-score of -1.9, which by definition is osteopenia. This person has poor balance, fear of falling, weakness in their legs, difficulty standing up from a chair, and is not engaged in an exercise program. Person number two has a T-score of -2.7, which by definition is osteoporosis. This person has great balance, strong legs, can easily stand from a chair, and they lift weights 3 times a week. Which person do you think has a greater chance of fracture? If we look at T-scores alone, then person number two is most likely to have a fracture due to their low score. But in reality, person number two is far more independent and much less likely to suffer from a fall. I would be much more worried if my client is person number one. Does this mean a T-score from a DEXA scan is useless? No. But let me talk a little bit more about what a DEXA scan measures, what it's good for, and what other things you can use to measure your strength and chance of fracture. A DEXA scan measures your bone mineral density compared to a healthy young adult. Basically, it's 2 x-rays taken at the same time, where one x-ray is absorbed by bone and the other is absorbed by muscle and fat. This allows the muscle and fat to be separated from the equation and give the scanner a bone density calculation. Now, because it is an x-ray, we get a 2D image. There are more advanced CT scan techniques that can give a 3D image, which shows the internal structure of the bone. And therefore, these things can measure things like cortical and trabecular thickness. This would give a more complete picture of bone strength, but these scans are more expensive to use and not as available. DEXA scans are still strongly validated for fracture risk. They also have lower radiation exposure and are widely available. But they are not the end-all be-all. DEXA scans show bone density, but bone density is not the same thing as bone strength, and a low T-score does not guarantee a fracture. Something else I'd like to address is lifting heavy weights and impact training to improve your T-score. While I do encourage resistance training, I don't think performing a heavy squat or a heavy deadlift is recommended for everyone. In fact, in some circumstances, it can be dangerous. One popular study that is referenced a lot is the Liftmor study, which showed improvement in bone mineral density, but it was actually pretty minor. It was about a 3% change, and the Liftmor trial was very selective in who was eligible for that study. While an increase in bone mineral density is awesome, even if it's small, in my opinion, the real benefits of this study were improved strength and mobility of the participants. In research, decreased strength and difficulty getting out of a chair are associated with increased falls. And most fractures happen because somebody falls. That means your muscle strength, balance, reaction time, walking ability, and overall physical function may be just as important as your bone density. This is why treatment shouldn't focus only on trying to improve a number on your DEXA scan. It should also focus on building a body that's stronger, more resilient, and less likely to fall in the first place. I'd also like to point out that anyone can have a fracture. And often it's people that don't even have osteoporosis or osteopenia who break a bone. The broken bone was just a result of an injury. Strength training can improve muscle strength, balance, power, coordination, and confidence. Those improvements may not dramatically change your T-score, but they can make a huge difference in how you function every day. Pay attention to your T-score, but don't let it define you. Your goal isn't just to have a better scan. Your goal should be to have stronger bones and a stronger body that lets you live the life you want. If you like this video and would like to see more content on osteoporosis, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.